Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Benjamin, and today we're doing an alternate history of 2016 to now, so post 2018 midterms, if Hillary Clinton had won the 2016 election, which this is the map we have for that outcome. She narrowly won all three of these Rust Belt states, but she lost the 2nd Congressional District in Maine. This indicates she has a lot of troubles. And in the Senate, Republicans managed to keep 50 seats, but Democrats reached 50 seats, giving them control of the Senate. They also won a fairly narrow victory in the House of Representatives. So now, in no state, some notable victories include Katie McGinty defeating Patrick Toomey, the incumbent, as well as Ron Johnson losing to Russ Feingold. But no state differed from the outcome of their presidential election. And this was the breakdown. So by 2018, what we have, which the midterms have just wrapped up, some notable Democrats did move on into the Clinton administration, including Tim Kaine, who was the senator from Virginia, the junior senator, mind you. He was replaced in a special election in 2017, concurrent with the gubernatorial election. And in the Senate, Ed Gillespie was elected, replacing Tim Kaine, as well as and in a rather shocking twist, Corey Stewart managed to actually very narrowly win the gubernatorial race. In Florida, Rick Scott, the outgoing governor of Florida, won the Senate election in the midterms. In Wisconsin, Tammy Baldwin was not running and was replaced by Republican Ron Johnson in the Senate. And in Michigan, Stabenow lost re-election to John James. Rob Portman of Ohio left for a job in the Clinton administration. And of course, his special election replacement was a Republican. In Vermont, Bernie Sanders was actually given a significant role in the Clinton administration as the Secretary of the Interior. He accepted, and in the very first special election, the Republican pulled off a shocking victory, which I think most people would consider is shocking. It was considered shocking at the time, and people were likening it to after Obama won the presidency, the Massachusetts senator at the time went up to work in the administration and was replaced by Scott Brown, a Republican, in a special election. In New Jersey, Bob Menendez couldn't overcome an anti-presidential year against a very moderate Republican in Bob Hugin, especially with his corruption charges that are still undergoing trial and likely to land Menendez in prison. As we go across the country, some notable red state Democrats did lose, including Heidi Heitkamp in North Dakota, Claire McCaskill in Missouri, and Joe Donnelly in Indiana. The only Democrat to survive the red wave, and this was a red wave, the Republicans managed to win the House, getting 260 seats. They won it going away. and there's still some close recounts that could go to the Republicans. And there's still 1 or 2 races left to be called where the Republicans are up. So it could be as much as 263 seats. In West Virginia, Joe Manchin managed to hold on, though there are rumors that he is going to switch party identification. In New Mexico, the incumbent, Heinrich, surprisingly lost to Gary Johnson, who managed to pull a plurality of 37% of the vote, whereas Heinrich and Mark Rich managed to get about 30% apiece. Ted Cruz easily won re-election over Beto O'Rourke. And some people are calling this a signal of the end for Clinton, though in all honesty, this is probably just the result of her being the president, and she's still considered among experienced pundits to be the favorite for re-election. In the governor's races, Republicans, they dominated, to say the least. Newt Buehler was able to defeat Kate Brown in Oregon. That was one of the notable upsets. New England continued to vote for their liberal Republicans. Ron DeSantis fought off a very strong challenge from Andrew Gillum in Florida, which was considered surprisingly strong considering he's progressive, and this was a year where Florida's race became significantly nationalized, and people thought that Gillum just didn't have a chance. Stacey Abrams kind of floundered in Georgia, only managing 40% of the vote, turning off some moderate Democrats away from her campaign. And Scott Walker managed to pull another upset after being down in the polls the entire race. Michigan did reject the Republican Party after their very unpopular outgoing Republican incumbent. A state that was closer than Democrats thought it should be, considering the makeup of the state, was California, where the Republican managed to get 46% of the vote to the Democrats' 54%. But that is just the way things broke down in this world where Clinton is president. She's probably not going to be able to get anything done for the next 2 years, though there was a lot of stalling by Republicans in both houses, in both chambers of Congress. Merrick Garland did wind up replacing Scalia. However, Democrats have not been able to replace the retired Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and they're starting to get worried that Republicans might win in 2020 because of the Supreme Court. Anyway, thank you guys for sitting through this. I just wanted to have a little bit of fun today. Didn't want to do anything too weird or controversial. I kind of want to explain some of my decision making for this. So I figured these 3 states were the most likely to change their outcomes based on what happened in 2016. For the 2016 Senate results, I decided to have every state just go with their presidential results. It made the most sense to me at the time, and it still does. I really just don't see it really going differently. Now, this is one that I can understand a lot of people being confused about, because you look at New Jersey, you look at Vermont, you look at Virginia, and this Minnesota one. I figured one of Minnesota's Democrats, probably Al Franken, would have moved on into the administration, and you'd have a special election for that. But it wouldn't be in 2018. I believe their laws say it would have been a 2017 special election, and they would have been wiped out there, meaning that in 2020 someone would. Yeah, I thought that was the most likely outcome. Vermont was kind of my way of saying, yeah, that is the wait, what election? I wanted to have one of those states like in Alabama for, with Jeff Sessions leaving and Doug Jones winning as a Democrat in Alabama, or a Scott Brown winning as a Republican winning in Massachusetts. I wanted to have one of those. And some are going to say, well, don't you have that with New Jersey? Well, I figured in a Republican wave year, Menendez wouldn't be able to use the I'm the incumbent and argument. And I think the swing voters, that there are enough swing voters in New Jersey that they would say, well, we can't have the Clinton, dominating politics and everything and whatever you want. So I figured that would be a reasonable pickup for the Republicans. I mean, it was considered even a reasonable pickup in 2016 or in 2018 at times. It was considered to be expected that this race was going to be to the wire, and I figure in a Republican wave year, that would be enough to flip it the other direction. Wisconsin and Michigan, I thought John James ran a lot closer than I think anybody expected him to, and in a Republican wave year, that would be enough to carry him over the edge. In Wisconsin, I figured, well, number one, Leah Vukmir was not exactly a good fit for the state. She wasn't exciting, if that makes any sense. I thought Ron Johnson would be a much better fit, considering he defeated an incumbent in Russ Feingold. Even though in this scenario he lost in 2016, he ran again, this time against Baldwin, and managed to pick up the seat. I want to have a little bit of fun, and, well, I couldn't resist throwing Gary Johnson a bone in this one and winning his home state, which in a Republican year, it can happen. Arizona, I was tempted to mention this one, but I didn't. I would expect it actually to be basically the same matchup, or maybe Jeff Flake instead, but the same matchup, except it would go to the Republicans. I would expect Dean Heller to actually maintain his seat in a Republican year, and of course Florida. Now, I had to expect some people would go on into the administration, and one of the major ones is, of course, the Vice President, Tim Kaine. Now, obviously, I can't change that, so it'd actually be, so just pretend that's blue, but that would be, massive. With a Republican, this would be a massive Republican majority. So, yeah. And with the governor's race, I decided this isn't too far outside the realm of possibility. I mean, people were even predicting that anyway and not being laughed at. So it made sense that with gubernatorial races are a little less nationalized, but I still figure they would get some boost. There's no way Kansas would go blue in a Republican year. Oregon, I thought, yeah, that makes sense. And of course, this is the only real flip from the actual results would be Nevada, Oregon, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Wisconsin. It all would not be outside the realm of possibility. Obviously, in this, Virginia would be a Republican gubernatorial governorship, so that would actually be 35, not 34. So, yeah, anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Bye.